welcome to The Doctors Are In. We are grateful for the opportunity to be seen and not viewed. A lot's going on in our world today, and we are just on our continued quest. You know, the thing about a quest is that you just never give up searching until you find the truth. One thing I can really appreciate that I appreciate now more than ever in the sciences, and that's archaeology. Archaeology teaches you one thing, is that there's stuff that's buried that you got to dig up. In a lot of cases, that's exactly what we got to do. We got to dig up some stuff in order to find our freedom and find our revolution or evolution. But from the jump street, there is an idea, there is an age-old, ancient, and African ideology that sees God in the form of divine feminine. But in our Western world, we have been confronted with a idea or a social construct, borrowing the words of the bishop, that forces us to see God only through one lens. And so the natural thing to do is to kick back. And so there are going to be some things that we're going to say tonight that probably there's some aspect of us that's going to kick back to see God other than a man, other than, some dude sitting up on a throne with a staff, long white beard like mine, longer beard, and then, with lightning bolts and all this other stuff, who just happen to be a much, much lighter hue than mine. And so we push back, and there's probably something in you. I can't hold on to that idea. I can't get with that. Well, let me tell you, that's probably the right thing. That's probably your most natural reaction, is that when you hear something that sounds strange to you, you have to question, why is it strange? Most of us have never questioned anything that we've received on this side of the Atlantic. Because why? We're forced to believe a certain way about society, about everything, including religion. And so when we talk about seeing God in the image as what comes to your mind when you imagine God? And so when we hear stuff like, a divine feminine and divine masculine, we hear these things, there's something inside of us that we already know that goes off and say, hey, I ain't getting with that. Well, we're going to tell you that's probably an internal mechanism that kicks back, and that's okay. But let's find out why we have such a pushback in imaging God other than a man, and not seeing God in one of the aspects of reality. Everything that we know in creation came through the womb of some species. Wow. And the closest thing they came with is that they tried to make this creation story that God went inside of Adam's rib and pulled out something. And most of us take that as if exactly what that had, and we don't realize when we're reading metaphor, and that there's a story being conveyed there. But see, I'm stirring the pot. I'm trying to do the best I can to stir the pot already to let you know we're going to have some pushback so we can have a very vivid and robust discussion tonight on The Doctors Are In as we begin to talk about the divine feminine and all of its aspects and all this it's all associative aspects with ancient culture and even up to this date. Those are my opening comments. As per usual, we like to, uh, yeah, you might well go and start smiling, Dr. Brown, because you already know that we
You see
like
the
to hear.
mischief? You see the mischief on his face?
We always like to hear what our elder has to say before we get into some of the stuff that I, you know, kindly introduced. Dr. Brown.
Good evening to all of God's children all over and on this and in this planet, the way I use it. You said something since you throw it at me. You said we've got to go and dig up. And I said, no, to myself. And I said, okay, Dr. Gardner, you said we got to dig up because the archaeology and looking and going back. And my statement to myself, I enjoy when you throw that out. We need to dig in, go with
Again.
go within
Oh,
and understand. Now there go they see we,
go ahead.
we
Go ahead.
no all I'm saying is we need to dig in and go within. Now I remember, oh gosh, 40, 45 years ago, I had to read I liked him because I was in the movement, and very few people realize we did study certain psychologists, and one of our favorite was Eric Fromm. And Eric Fromm had been very unique in talking about religion and freedom inside the religious experience. He says when a child's born and when they come into this world, he said, Freud had a different point and Wang had a different point, and that children automatically are not religious. We indoctrinate them with religion. We give them the concepts that we're going to talk about. And Fromm was one who dealt with ethics. He worked at it. What I think they call them what's that word? Psychoanalysis. And see,
Yeah.
this is an yeah,
Psychoanalytic perspective for
yeah,
psychology. I know exactly what you're talking about.
and
Hmm.
when I threw out to you about digging in, I'm saying we need to go within ourselves to discover the divine in us. And that divineness does not play out. Unfortunately, I'm experiencing a ministry with many young people, which is part of my job, who we call transgenders. And
Mhm.
I will not say too much in that because of confidentiality. But I see many males who are working with that energy of their femininity.
Mhm.
I see many females who are working with that energy of masculinity as we define it and as we use it as a
Mhm.
behavior. And I'm not going to go any further with that, but it's a growing, and many of them are committing suicide. And I don't
Mhm.
want to go into that either because of confidentiality. But the reality is there is this, what will we call cycle, this evolution. What's all of a sudden showing up? Why are we having to talk about the feminine energy or the masculine energy? God is not a he nor is a
Okay.
she. That's I get rid of that he or she. Uh-uh. You know, I can't even think in that dimension. And I listen to others in that dimension, but the divine, the creator, see, we're not the only living existence in the universe. Uh, there are a lot of the presence of other, well, we call them aliens.
We just talked about.
The audacity. Yeah, we call them aliens. You got the nerve to call us aliens, and some of the aliens seem to have been before us, as we call ourselves, what, the humans? I'm looking of the creator, and the creator cannot be, in my thinking, cannot be confined into those two terms of a he and a she, because the he dynamic is very prevalent in our society and in our propaganda, in our education. I mean, it's almost. My dad said to me, "It's a demon,"
Oh, wow.
and uh, and and how the demon plays the game is to maintain its control and power. And as you know, it's coming to our reality that our sisters, our feminine energy is becoming more voiced and is becoming more of a savior to us. Now I'm at at St. John at the church. We have we do a class on Sunday morning, and my brother are studying the book of Proverbs with emphasizing feminine. It's loaded.
Okay.
It's beautiful. And it's almost like watching brothers get into harmony with an intimacy in their psyche. And I throw some stuff out there, and they just say, "Brown, you going crazy." I said, if when you feel feminine, you feel kind of emotional, don't you? And then another brother said, "No, I feel emotional when I'm a man." And I said, "How do you feel emotional when you're with a woman being a man?" So it's a whole dynamics of what goes on analytically in the psychic versus critical. We're good at critical or analytical. And I tend to try to be analytical. Critical to me is just destructive. Analytical means you look at both sides and then you look at yourself. Now I'm through.
Appreciate that. So in your own Bible study, you're introducing that at the church.
Yeah, this is something they came up. We're gonna and what frustrated them was it was talking about women. Proverbs. It was giving the language of women, or let's say giving the language correction, giving the feelings of the feminine energies, and it speaks on being foolish. What a woman says, and we do a lot of foolishness. I won't go there either.
Bishop. Dr. Brown just said a mouthful.
Okay.
I'm fine. Got to go. How do we go within discovering our relationship? How do we go in and discover and no, not discover. Let me put it another way. Come to the full realization of our own divineness with the Creator. How do we do that? And Jesus said it so often. You got to go within. You got to go within. You got to go within. Where is the kingdom? And the problem was we have created a kingdom externally, never realized internally there is a kingdom. Now, that kingdom cannot use the materialistic artifacts that we play with. The kingdom of the divine is nothing about artifacts. It's about consciousness and reality of eternity. It is what I call immortal.
It's not, it has no, it doesn't deal with material artifacts. Did I understand you correctly?
That's it. With me, it deals with no material artifacts. The beauty of the divine is that when you discover the invisible, you come to the realization of what the visible is inside the invisible.
Okay. All right. Bishop Hyman, any thoughts, expansion?
What am I supposed to do with all of that?
I mean, he just put his whole foot in what we're going to talk about tonight. He just said, let me just sit down in it.
Well, you said dig up. I'm saying dig in.
Well, I'm going to say dig up
Go
and
ahead.
dig in. I'm
Oh,
going to say dig up. And, I'm always right down the middle. That's just the way God has wired me for this dualistic culture and this dualistic religion. He's wired me to come right down the middle. Um, some of it we must dig up because some of the evidence of a divine feminine far predating the scriptures as we know them for not hundreds of years, not even thousands of years, not even 10,000s of years, hundreds of thousands of years, almost dating back to 1,000,000 years. Those artifacts, those anthropological finds, archaeological finds, many of them are in caves. Some of them have been buried, Dr. Gardner, under the waters. If we ever just drag the waters, we're not just going to find our bodies, but we're going to find the evidence of our genius being buried, erased, and replaced. Some of it is in digging through ancient books, like the Emerald Codes, or looking at some of the laws of Ma'at, even looking in extra biblical sources like Thomas and the Gospel of Mary and the Gospel of Enoch. It is going, looking even in my old Catholic Bible with Ecclesiastes and Ecclesiasticus and all of the additional text that have been extracted from the text that we now have. We've got to go back and dig again. The mystery is not in front of us. The mystery is in the history. So that's going to take some digging because we've been suitcased, as we said last week. We've been suitcased in these. Dr. Brown said, I can't. I can't. He's still traumatized from last week. But we have been suitcased in these 66 books, whether it is through Judaism, which is not what Jesus practiced. The current Judaism, that's not the people, that's not the land, that's not the language, or any of that of the book. What we got going up and down the gut, that's not it. But Judaism as we have it, uh, um, um, Islam as we have it, Christianity, Christian insanity as we have it.
Christian insanity.
Yeah, Christian insanity. That's where the anity comes from. We're the
From
only religion
insanity.
with an anity on the back of it.
I'm getting up and get some water. I can't. I can't.
Okay, just look at the suffix. Okay, and so um, when we look at all of these quote, even listen to the language. These are patriarchal religions that are tied to a man when a man cannot reproduce without a womb. A man cannot bring forth life. A man has no gestation or anything. A man has no mammary glands or milk ducts. A man cannot do this, yet we call these the Abrahamic religions. And even in this, we have removed the sacred womb that brought forth a new movement. And so it is kind of all we know. As we were talking today, here and there, we just talked about this here and there. But as we were talking today, Dr. Gardner, is that the reason that we don't think anything exists outside of that suitcase we call Christianity or Islam or Judaism, all of these patriarchal misogynist religions, the reason we don't think anything exists is because we thought what we've been taught was the totality of truth.
Oh, wow.
We thought
We thought
what we have been taught.
what we've been taught.
And we could really just put dot, dot, dot behind that. We thought what we have been taught. We thought what we have been taught is the totality of truth. Therefore, we are not truth seekers. Therefore, we are not truth finders. There's nothing to go within for because we thought what we taught is ultimately the truth. And we think that anyone who thinks outside of what we've been taught, even though it ain't but 2,000 years old or 6,000 years old, out of a million years that we know we've been here, we think that anything outside of what we have been taught cannot be the truth. Therefore, if we don't see anything else, why go within? Because the truth is outside of us because it's what we have been taught. So it's a digging for many people of tangible proof. That's the only way. And even with tangible proof, they're going to explain it away like the empire always does. Even with that, we're not going to dig if we think we already got the truth. Where you going? You know it all. You know God. Or as Dr. Brown told us a few years ago, we have constructed, or they did, and then we adopted it. And maybe all cultures do, but we have constructed a God in our image and after our likeness, and we have made God an extension of us, never really exploring the cosmos and spiritual realms to see how we are in the image and likeness of God. So this little suitcase that we got, Lord, he going on again. Sir, I wish that man stopped posting all this crazy stuff up here. But here we go, believing that there is no reality except the one that we have been taught. We don't go outside of it. Number one, because of the violent history and nature of Christianity, that if you think anything other than what the empire has told you, you are going to get persecuted. You are going to get blackballed. You may get beheaded. You may get defrocked if you're a bishop. You may be excommunicated. You may be killed. I mean, literally attached all the way back here in the 200s and 300s. Or I guess we can attach it even to Jesus' day, because that murdering demon got that prophet because he was teaching there is a kingdom that is coming, but there's also one within. And they don't ever want us to know about the kingdom, or in the Aramaic language, the queendom within, because once you tap into the God within, you need less dependency on the empire. You need less dependency on the system. You need less dependency on their scholarship. So there's a vested interest, okay? There was a vested interest in keeping the divine feminine from us. And
Hmm.
this is why we have patriarchal religion. We don't even realize it. So for us, God is a dude.
Oh, no.
God is a dude. And God is only a he, a him, and that's all. Anything else for many of, because we're talking not decades, we're talking centuries, we're talking millennia of this patriarchal concept and construct of God. And I think we don't want to go within because we are afraid that we may find something outside of what we have been taught. And we're going to be persecuted. Listen to me. Yeah, I'll put that baby's comment up. Could be the same page, it's just extra, okay? Uh, uh, but we kind of have this visceral fear that anything that we say that is outside of the constructs of what the empire told us and told us we can't think outside of. Is going to bring us some kind of negative impact. So we will, in our trauma response, particularly as a people of color, a people of the diaspora, a people oppressed, in our collective trauma response, we will freeze or flight or fawn. But we're not going, many of us are not going to deal with anything outside of for fear. Now this is good. I got this from Larry Reed. He said something like this, that the enlightened will always be attacked and persecuted by the unenlightened, and that those who dig to educate and enlighten themselves will always be persecuted by the ignorant. And so there's a fear, even to those that God is speaking to. There's a fear to explore and release. If there's a fear to explore and release truth outside of yourself, there is a visceral fear of trying to explore truth within yourself. And so we don't. So we get uh uh absolutely, this is anthropomorphism. Anthropomorphism. Yeah, anthropomorphism. And so we just don't. We're trapped. Many of us are trapped. But this new age that we're entering into is not, and I know some people won't have a problem with this, is not the church age.
Oh, no.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Because many of us don't even understand that the church age is the age of the Gentiles that was already prophesied to us.
Oh,
Right? The church age is the age of Gentiles. And the hour of the Gentiles is going to come to a close. All right. Them Japhethites. I'm going to leave that right there. But we're entering now into this new realm, this new era. And we're in the middle passage. We're in the middle passage. This is where deconstruction and reconstruction occurs. God always has to do that, at least metaphorically, in a wilderness. You can't go into that dragging all of this. Or as you said today, we cannot keep putting fresh wine. It doesn't matter how much it costs us to press them grapes, how much it costs us to plant them grapes and the vines, and to do all of that. We cannot put new wine in old skins. And so we got a problem. Even when the Lord be trying to tell us the truth, it leaks out because we have that old
oh,
patriarchal, misogynistic, hierarchical mentality, and we really have ascribed that to God. And so, as we go into this new era that is going to signify justice and righteousness, it is also going to be a time of enlightening. It is going to be a time of discovery. It is going to be a time of evolution and the rising and the ascension of consciousness. We hidden it. And so this not just the church. No. We done the institution. And the institution has both saved us and killed us. And by statistical research, the institution has not advanced my people. It has not liberated my people. It has not made things equitable among other people. We still at the bottom. So the institution itself is a part of the empire. And the empire must control what you think about your God, about creation, about them, and about yourself.
you are watching the doctors are in. Oh, boy. So,
Jamel say the Babylonian system. Say now, and holiness. We used to sing, "Oh Babylon coming down, oh Babylon coming down. Can't you see Babylon coming down? Oh Babylon coming down." We used to sing that because that was our hope. That was our prophetic resistance. That this system built on lies and deception, erasing and replacing hierarchy, misogyny, white privilege, all of that. We used to sing that it was coming down. They done told us all that was ignorant. We brought all of that with us. All of that was ignorant. And so now we are fully assimilated into the empire's theology. There's a reason. Dr. Brown told us coming out the gate years ago. There's an economy attached to this. Economy and politics attached to this. And so we are so embedded in it. As we learned last weekend in our retreat and summit, we are so embedded in it because it is rewarding to us. It is rewarding to us position wise. It is rewarding to us misogynistic wise. It is rewarding to us patriarchy, hierarchy, rewarding to us red bottoms and Louis Vuitton and platforms. It is rewarding to us. We are like them. They want us. It's rewarding to us because it gives us an identity. It gives us something to shoot for. It gives us a model. It gives us something to emulate. It gives us all of this stuff, but we don't know that what it is doing is making us curse ourselves because Balaam and his ass cannot curse what God has blessed. And so it causes us to move into an idolatrous relationship with God, the earth, and one another as we exalt our oppressor as being our model for all things. And so there's a reason why the divine feminine has been erased and replaced. There's a reason for that. And it has worked. It's worked.
Okay. So the system has been successful in keeping us. I know Dr. Brown don't like the suitcase because we did talk about that. He preferred. Should I call it a shoebox? Which
No, you
one
do
should I?
whatever you want to. You do whatever you want to, because see what the sister everything she was saying had relevance. Everything she was saying has been correct in the experiences of our culture, our people. And I only use one word. She could just say, we have been brainwashed.
Well, that's strong, but that's truth.
Oh,
And
yes.
and another word, and the reason we have been brainwashed, because we fear.
Yes, sir.
We fear. And it goes back to, I got to finish, I got to do the book. And we fear to love, and we love to fear.
Yes.
You know, when he said we've been brainwashed, I had an image. And truth, you know, here we just come over in this middle passage. We had a reality of God prior to us getting on this soil. When we get over here, we're split up, and then we are introduced to the God of empire. Okay. And it's theological entrapment. The image that I had.
Wait a minute, hold on. Did you say entrapment?
Yes, I did. Theological entrapment.
So 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 we have put our foot in a bear trap, and our feet, Lord have mercy, have been caught. This is where we get this whole Greek concept of scandalon, offense. Our feet have been caught in a trap, and it has been done theologically.
It's been done theologically.
And then it impacts us psychologically.
Yep.
Sociologically.
Yep.
Biologically.
Yep.
Spiritual. Whoa. You said we've been trapped, sir.
We've been trapped.
Oh Lord.
You know, and we didn't come over here trapped.
But don't you know that's what religion does?
Talk to us, sir.
Go ahead. It entraps. Go ahead. Talk.
No, that's what religion does to us. Every little beautiful child born, when you were born, Bishop, you were a beautiful little creation. You had, you were breathing, you were smiling. You ever put a circle of babies together? If one cries, they all cry. There is a. We had to do this way back in school in psychology, and it's in your discipline. Put little children; they can all be different colors, and there they are. They can even. I had a feeling doing this. This was years ago. I had a feeling they communicate. We just didn't know how they were doing it. And I use that illustration to come back to the point of what you're saying. Religion. I'm a preacher's son. I'm a preacher's grandson. And religion has put us in traps because it never focused making us see ourselves spiritually. It made us see ourselves in another dimension that Bishop Hyman described so well. What does religion, and I'm saying religion because it's an enterprise. It has systems. And you're talking about church. She is so correct in what's happening in regard to the church in the Black experience.
So religion relegates.
Well, you work with that religion. You work with religion. You work with it.
Okay. So yes, we've been placed into a theological entrapment that has affected our entire existence.
Doesn't the word theology comes out of religion?
Absolutely.
Every word, we are using terms of religion. What are the real terms of love? What are the real terms of love? Do love have to come out of religion? Love comes out of what? Out of you, out of your spirit, out of your divineness.
Okay. Well, we tapped on a word today.
Hold on. Fear is natural. Be extra. Fear is natural and valuable, yet an unpleasant emotion. It's not always unpleasant. That arises in response to perceived dangers and threats for your safety. A certain amount of fear given the environment is quite logical. We're not talking about logical fear. We are talking about instilled fear. There's a difference in instinctive fear and instilled fear. With our history, and with the history of Christianity comes a trail of violence and blood, comes a trail of lynchings and rapes and dismemberment, castrations, whips. There's a trail of it that is even epigenetically trapped in the DNA. This is not a natural fear that is put in all creatures. It's in all living creatures. Fish got it. You can see it right in my fish tank. See, one campion, they do this. All animals have it for protection and safety. What we are talking about, however, is different than natural fear. We are talking about instilled fear. We're talking about fear in sacred memory trapped in the DNA. And we're talking about continuous fear that is used as a mechanism, particularly in the West, of control, because control and fear generates money and it keeps the hierarchy the hierarchy. It's a little bit different than instinctive fear. I wanted to make that difference. Go ahead, Apostle.
Yes, another image that I had that kind of describes this entrapment is an electric fence. And you place an animal inside this electric fence, and if he goes to beyond that fence, he gonna get shot. So in other words, he has been introduced to its limits. And you can remove the fence, and it won't go past to the place where the fence was, because why? It's our the fence has now moved from the outside to the inside. And so, Dr. Brown, I fear that some of us have fences on the inside, and
Yeah.
that's why we got to go within to remove the internal fence so that the external can mirror the internal. Would you speak to ways and means of going within to
Okay, and then
uproot
let's
this
get on
fence?
this, and then let's get on this divine feminine, please. Thank you. Go ahead, Dr. Brown.
Well, you said something, Bishop. Uh, 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 to get inside, you got to remove that fear that's on inside you, and embrace what you really are. You are a love being.
See, I told you today, didn't I, Dr. Gardner?
You're
I'm
a
a
love
love
being.
being.
You're a love being, and you go within and you remove. Now I know where Dr. Gardner is pushing me based on some practices that I use in therapy for people in meditation, and one of the methods that seemingly helpful for people, those who have had loved ones who pass, and I say to them, think on this with me, and become still, become silent, and I want you to inhale with me your your memory of your love for your loved one. And I say very seriously, come on, let us breathe in. Breathe in, I am love. Just breathe that in, and then exhale fear. Just tell them do it about 3 or 4 times and do it slowly. And then I said, now you're really hurting about your loved one. Now breathe in the love that you have for your loved one, and the loved one that has for you. Breathe in. Now exhale again, fear and doubt. And we do that for about, I would say, about 2 or 3 minutes. And what happens in their relationship, it removes the problem of their grief, and it removes really what I would say again the fear of the self, the divine self, and it opens up a pattern for them for that moment. But this is something you have to practice daily, waking up in the morning and taking a deep breath. God has communicated with you. When you inhale, God is exhaling for you. And when you exhale, God is taking it back and ready to send it back to you. But you have to put yourself in a state of consciousness. You have to remove negative words, negative thoughts. And you practice that just in one basic thing, breathing exercise. Breathe with your walk, breathe with your talk, and make this a steady exercise. You don't have to pay no money for that. You don't
Okay.
have to call a psychiatrist. You don't have to call your lawyer or
Okay.
whoever you call. If you talk about you got a relationship with God, that's who you're dealing with when you're breathing. A lot of times you don't have to speak words.
Okay.
Have a consciousness of your breath. I'm trying to keep it real simple, but in regard to those who are servants, help people with their just a basic breathing and the thought with the breath. That's all.
Okay.
That's my one cent worth.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. We wanted to give people some tidbits on some ways and means as we're dealing with a very revolutionary topic when we talk about the divine feminine. And so that was a good plug in for that. Bishop, you have some
Yeah.
insight that we probably need to address regarding this divine feminine. Last that I checked, that it was just not something that it's just not something that's new age, new era, but it's been old age and even biblical, that the concept of the divine feminine existed in the Hebrew Bible. So why are we so have such an antithesis to the term, or do we not really understand? The term.
Fear of
Oh,
losing power. That's fear of losing power. See, this patriarchal, whatever we call it, has been in position and in place. And why won't folk let go? Because then they lose what? Their influence or their affluence, and the fear of being lost and not realizing the beauty for once being found.
okay. Bishop.
Hmm? Yes.
I'll be good. Okay, I'll be good.
No, seriously. I mean, what?
Let's deal with the timeline on this whole concept. I mean, is that appropriate? Where you mentioned something about 1,000,000 years ago, and then you mentioned something about just the last 6,000 years, that this patriarchy seems to just kind of, you know, inch in and take shape within our world. Um, why is it so uncomfortable for us to really see things different than the way we've been taught
Well,
it?
I think we've discussed that. As far as I know, we discussed that in depth. We talked about the fear. We talked about the violence attached to, or the violent history that is, kind of, we done made an example out of a few people
Hmm.
um, who, if they speak any truth, and they speak truth to power or to power places and power people, we know what happens. And so, I mean, even with the assassination of Yeshua, and hanging him, the way at least we've been told, was to tell the rest of you Negroes, I wish you would. So there's always that. We've discussed the fear of going outside of a box. We can even look at psychosocially what religion, what it does to us is it gives us a commonality and something to belong to. And so, because in our collective trauma, we've been snatched from everything that we belong to and that belonged to us in that trauma, but that wiring is still in us, and so we tend to navigate to something that unites us. Our belief system unites us. We don't want to go outside of that. We don't want to be kicked outside of that because we don't want to be snatched outside and detached again. And so, even psychosocially, there is a need to belong to,
Okay.
um, and not to be excluded or excommunicated out of it. All right. Um, so when we talk about the divine feminine, it does not start. Well, you got to realize the whole text and those texts which point directly to the divine feminine. A lot of those have been taken out of our Bible, but most of our texts have been. I don't know what you call it. You call it emasculating a man. I don't know what you call it when you do that to a woman.
Mm.
You rape
Uh,
her.
uh,
You rape
huh?
her.
No, no, I'm not talking about rape. When you emasculate a man, you cut his stuff off. That's castration. And there is female castration, but we don't, that I'm aware of, a common term of when we do that to a woman. But that's what we have done with the divine feminine. It would be the kin to emasculating a male. All right. So
Yeah, I'm trying to think of that word
okay,
for
because
you.
I can't.
There is a
Okay, I
word. I'm
can't pull
trying
it
to.
up. I cannot pull it up. Um,
I know. Ooh, that's a word. Yeah. Now you done put me to thinking.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what.
And there is a
I don't
what
know
it
what they
means.
do. I mean, because they castrate females too, and there's a history of that too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But yeah, is that okay?
Jesus.
So
Defeminization. That's too soft, isn't it?
it is a little soft, but it's better than I got. I'll take it. But I'm still thinking. But this is what we have done to a portion of the divine. So we can go back to uh, as far back to Kemet. We can go back before Kemet was Kemet. We can see to it. He says spading. I ain't know
Spading.
about
Yeah,
yeah, spade. You can
yeah,
use
that was
spading
no, that
earlier.
Fading.
was what spading.
Yeah, we
No,
can use
sister,
spading. A spade, yeah, spade. You know how you do like the dogs.
it's a spading.
Yeah, you can spade. Um, and it may be another word even besides that, but
Well,
we'll take
yeah.
that. That's close enough. We'll take that. Okay. But if we go back, I'm trying to get back. Who y'all ain't gonna let me get this out tonight?
I said
But
I'll
we
be
said,
good.
yeah, but Dr. Brown ain't being good. He not being good tonight. We don't need him to be good either. No night. Praise the Lord. But when we go back, I'm gonna put that right there. When we go back to ancient times, we tend to want to just make the world 6,000 years old, the earth 6,000 years old, 8,000 years old. We got fossils back 800,000 years that go straight back to Africa. So there was a concept of God. There was all people have a conception, all ethnic groups, all people have a conception or a construct of God. We had it before. We're talking 800,000 years ago. And so we can go back, if you just want to go back even to ancient Egypt of Africa and go back to the laws. Okay, so if we can get it back. There we go. Go back to the laws of Ma'at.
Okay.
Ma'at from Kemet, which most scholars believe that the Ten Commandments came from the 42 sayings of Ma'at. But Ma'at is a feminine, these 42 common laws that people had to make sure that they did not violate the God of creation and the creation of God in the community, in the earth, and in one another. So Ma'at is a divine feminine. It is the God or goddess, if y'all can tolerate that, of truth. So at least far back as ancient Kemet, truth was a divine feminine. Justice, as we see, even our scales, even what we have done in the Latinized version that we got from the Greek version that they stole from the ancient Africans. Justice is seen as a feminine. Ma'at is responsible for cosmic balance, cosmic order, harmony, moral law, justice. We can go to, and I saw, Asa, you already there, son. Proverbs 8, wisdom. Here is the corollary. Wisdom personified, ordering creation. We see wisdom, or the ancient people who wrote these two or three different Genesis accounts that we have. We see wisdom pairing with the God in creation, so that without wisdom there is no order. I'm gonna do that again. Without wisdom there is no order. Without order, there is no emanation of God's glory. And so we see that in this whole Psalm 8, Proverbs 8. We see it in Proverbs 22, 17, all the way through Proverbs 23. Parallels. Listen, this proverb parallels with the instructions of Amenemope from Egypt. We keep saying the Lord gave. Oh no, the Lord gave it, and then they took it and transmitted it. Come on here, all right. So that even in commit Nut, the sky goddess, the birther of the sun, they believe that the sun came up daily in a cycle, and the cycle was part of the sky goddess, the birther of the sun daily. The earth is the womb of creation. Everything is on a cycle. A woman has a cycle. Lambs, sheep have cycles. God sits on the cycle or the circle of the earth. Them other people thought the earth was flat because they are linear people.
Mm,
We've been knew from jump that the earth was circular because it is a part of the larger cosmos, which is circular and cyclical. If we go all the way back, Dr. Brown, to my psychoanalytic theory of development and psychology and all of this stuff with Jung and Freud, the circle is a feminine symbol. Why? That- That's where the life come out. That's where the nurturing come out. That's where the milk come out. That's where the substance come out that God puts in most of the feminine species. The nurturing comes from the one that birthed it. And so this is nothing new. I don't know why we be trying to act so crazy, because we have to ignore nature. We have to ignore patterns. We have to ignore history. We have to ignore our very bodies to continue to adopt a one-sided God that is decidedly male. So no new thing there, where they thought that the sun, the circle, the cycle was a female or a divine feminine, or Dr. Brown called it the feminine energy. Uh, we have heard of this, but we done made this a demon, Isis or Set, mother, healer, protector, one who sits on the throne. It is a nurturing divine mother, a sustainer of kingship. Okay? Isaiah 49:15
right.
speaks of God as a nurturing mother. Why do the prophets and the prophets of wisdom
Hmm.
present God in both natures or in both energies? It's because they always had it. We already know where the Hebrews got their concept of God. They were in Egypt 400 years, just like we have gotten our concept of God from our Egypt of 400 and some years.
Oh,
So we
wow.
know where this stuff came from. The Hebrews ain't got nothing original. Ain't nothing original there. Ain't nothing new under the sun. Okay, so we see that Isaiah 66, even 13, projects God as a comforter. The comforter has come as a comforting mother. Again, that goes with that nurturance. All right. So even in Hebraic, the Hebraic gospel, before it was raped and spayed, which after you spay it, you might as well be neutered because you can't reproduce. And so y'all just missed what I said. Y'all just missed what I said. So this gospel of the Hebrews, the ancient Hebrews, the Holy Spirit was called the mother. It was called the mother. It was a divine feminine. Let's go back, if we want to go there. I mean, we can go all the way through Hathor, Oshun, all of them, the goddess of the river, some ancient Africans, even some people of Aramaic tongue saw God as being coming out of the water. They believed that God was in the water. So where do we get this from? In Genesis. And the Spirit of the Lord moved upon the face of the waters. The Spirit and the water are one. The Spirit moved. The Spirit just did one of them Patty LaBelle things. You know, I had to do that thing like that. Yes, the Spirit. Yeah, I'm going there, Dr. Brown. Just give me a minute, sir. Just give me a minute. I'm gonna unball your face in a minute. The Spirit moved. It hovered. The metaphor there is like a large regal bird with wings outstretched, hovering over her eggs, over her nest. Again, waiting for timing, waiting for temperature, waiting for the proper time to break forth from one dimension of life into another dimension of life. Herein, we know we have passed from death to life. Not we die at the end and go to heaven. They ain't know nothing about that. We have passed from death to life. Here it is, Dr. Brown, because we love the brethren. This is how we know we have passed from death, from one dimension, from darkness into light, because we love. And so that bird hovering over the face of the deep, it is the metaphor again of this bird with arms or wings outstretched, hovering over her nest, waiting for the timing, waiting for temperature, waiting for the texture of her body to to have these things break out of. Notice she don't go and peck and bring them out. The thing comes out of you because the thing is in you. It is a pattern in the universe. Every
Mhm.
form of life comes out of something, not just something went in, something, okay, we get that part, but the life comes out of you. Why? Because God is in everything and everything brings life out of it. This is why we talk about the pattern of going within, because it's not out of you, it's got to come from within and out of you. And so this hovering over the face of the deep is the spirit of God. And so the spirit of God in ancient times was feminine. The Holy Spirit was feminine, and it came out of the water. No life can come here without water. No life can come here without water. Herein is how we ended up. We're gonna have some more for y'all next time. Here's how we ended up in in this dialogue with Nicodemus and Jesus. Jesus, he says, okay, good master. Now I'm a Pharisee. I'm a ruler. I'm a ranking teacher. I'm an interpreter of the Torah. I'm an interpreter of all them extra laws we put to bind women and all of that. I'm an interpreter of this, but yet I'm seeing something come out of this man that I don't have in my religion. There is something coming out of him that we don't have that. So I'm gonna go to you by night because I'm scared. There it is again. I'm scared. Come to you by night and ask you, how can I inhabit or inherit eternal life? That's not over there. That's the life here. How can I inherit this? Whatever we doing, it ain't working. Whatever we preaching, it ain't working. Whatever we practicing and whatever we teaching, it ain't working. I'm going back to the law and the prophets, it ain't working. Something is coming out of you that ain't coming out of us. I want to know, how do we possess it? And Jesus said, uh, 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 marvel not now. Don't lose your mind, because I'm getting ready to take you outside of your shoebox or your suitcase or whichever box y'all like. Okay, I'm getting ready. Whichever box y'all like. Okay, I'm gonna take you out of it. He says, you must be born, not again, they lied. You must be born or birthed or regened from above. All right. He says, then you how am I do that? I can't go back in the womb, but you can go back to the womb and go back and honor the womb that brought you here. I'm gonna show it to you in about 30 seconds. He says, so don't get hung at this, that you must be born from above. You must be born of the water, the amniotic sac. You must be born of the water. This ain't just going down in the water in Jesus' name, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, Jesus' name. However many kinds of formulas you come up with, because your formula is gonna get you more saved into heaven than any other formula. The arrogance of Christians. He says, so you must be born of the water and of the spirit. In other words, the same thing that happens here must happen here. As it is above, so it is beneath. As it is beneath, so it is above. You must be born of the water. Look at the metaphor. The water that comes through the womb, through which you get from eternity into time, darkness into light. The womb where you come from, the mystery into manifestation. You must be born of that. You must honor that. You must respect that. And then you must understand that there's a womb that comes out of heaven that you are also born of. They must come into divine alignment. This is not about saying no sinner's prayer. What is a sinner's doggone prayer? What is that? Huh? This is about aligning in earth and heaven so that you produce eternal life and immortality in your mortal body. And so this whole concept of the spirit goes back to the womb of heaven and the womb of earth must come into divine alignment if you want to experience or be able to release within you the kingdom of God. We done westernized that into some kind of something else where we done completely missed the esoteric teachings of Jesus. We have completely missed the divine masculine and the divine feminine, the yin and the yang, working together collaboratively to bring divine harmony and balance. If you don't have it, then your whole concept of God is skewed and you are missing balance that's supposed to bring you into harmony with your divine breath. The breath is in all things, and when you are in harmony with all things that the breath is in, then you are in harmony with the breath. Both this way, and here you go, this way.
Wow. Wow. Harmony. Somebody's seatbelt didn't click there. Harmony. Divine masculine and divine feminine energies harmonizing. Huh.
There's no harmony without that divine feminine.
It's no
There is
harmony.
no balance without the divine feminine. I was kind of looking at some changes at a workplace. They said, this is the new structure. This is what we're going to do. Soon as I looked at that, I said to them, there was not a woman at that table. Well, how would you know that? Because it has no wisdom in it. Looks good, sounds good, but it's not even pragmatically doable because ain't no wisdom here. So wherever we exclude the divine feminine, now some of this is a construct, but we're looking historically all the way through ancient Egyptian stuff, ancient African stuff, ancient Mesopotamian stuff, ancient Japanese, Chinese stuff. It's everywhere, but in these doggone patriarchal religions. All right. But when we begin to kind of take a look at this, then we understand that a whole lot of the mess that our quote black church is in is the removal of the divine feminine. It ain't no wisdom there. It ain't no justice there. It ain't no nurturing and protection there. And it could be full of order, but the order will be bereft of life and spirit. It could be order there, but it is nothing but caves full of dead men's bones. If
Oh,
there
oh.
is no spirit in it, there ain't no life in it. Because, and we say it and we sing it, the spirit of the Lord brings life, gives life. The life giver is the divine feminine. So this is how we end up with religion and rules and doctrines and no life. no justice, no equity, no forward mobility of the people, no bringing us together, no collective, because ain't no life in it, ain't no justice in it, ain't no wisdom in it. That's how we got here, in the exclusion and erasure and the spaying of the divine feminine. That's how we got here.
Wow. Dr. Brown.
That's not a good smirk on Dr. Brown.
All
That's
she's
not
saying
good.
is, all she is saying is in her teachings, it ain't been taught what she's
It ain't been
talking
taught.
about.
It ain't been taught.
It ain't been preached. It ain't been discussed in teachings. What she has presented, it has not been, and guess what? It ain't being done now.
Wow.
Jesus have mercy.
It ain't being done now.
You know, you asked a question last week, and maybe we'll kind of, but what does this look like? Are men afraid to embrace the divine feminine? Because both of it is in all of us. Everybody got an X chromosome.
Told you that.
Everybody. Everybody.
But that hasn't
Everybody.
been taught. It's not
See?
being taught.
Mm-hmm.
We go back to that about 3 years ago. What was done in regard to Willie Lynch?
Mm-hmm. Come on with that.
That was very evident. Did I say that was there very evident?
Yes.
The Willie Lynch phenomenon of make that woman became his way of destroying the power of the feminine infinite. Because what did he do? What was his method? Take that woman and let her see what we'll do to that part of her that she carried in her womb. And I mean, he could
My,
have did
my.
that. That's all. I'm just saying.
My, my.
We did that about 3 years ago on the Willie Lynch
Yeah, we
Mm-hmm.
did.
phenomenon.
Mm-hmm. Sure did.
Yeah, we
Sure
did.
did.
And see, that is still alive. He said it would last 300 to 400 years. This is how you got to do it.
So, 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 well, I guess it is being taught because we're teaching it. Actually, we're behind. Some people been on this for a minute. Some of them, unfortunately, or fortunately, some of them left the Christian faith. Some of them left Judaism. Some of them left Islam. Uh, because they could not find a hiding place. They could not find solace. They could not find people who are willing to sit down and have hard conversations. And so they left, and then they still got persecuted and called, here you go, witches and warlocks, mostly witches, because we had no place for them. The violence continues even that way. So is it, brethren, and I'll pull on your testosterone and your testicles. Is it then that it is difficult for men and women who have been so socialized, conditioned, brainwashed, with menticide, and miseducated? Is it difficult for us to embrace the divine feminine because of the way that we have subjugated, uh, the way we have dismissed and reduced anything feminine? I mean, even with our doctrine of dominion, so that
Mm.
we are having dominion over the earth. How you just a little speck on a ball that's a little speck in a huge galaxy, one of the smallest planets. But you supposed to have dominion over the earth and subdue it. How do you, that teaches take dominion over Mother Earth. It is Mother Earth because life is birthed out of her womb. Take dominion over Mother Nature. Now Mother Nature is clapping back because we done raped Mother Earth, clapping back, Mother Nature clapping back, because we have dismissed, we have raped, we have just violated everything that has a womb. So whether it's Mother Africa, raped, robbed, pillaged, we're just entitled to come and take it. Whether it's the mother, disregard, dismiss, whether it's the wife, subjugate, you under me, I'm over you, I'm God over you. You exist solely for my pleasure and my purpose. So this is it's all in everything. So then, that being said, how do we break through all of that so that, and we got this, Deron Williams showed us this when we had him last year, that almost every character, every female character in the Bible from Genesis to maps is demonized as being the problem of all humanity. It's something wrong with just about every female in that Bible. Every female in the Bible. I didn't think about it till Dr. Theron Williams said that to us on the show. So with everything, generations of stuff saying, if it has a womb, it is to be dominated. If it has a womb, we're entitled to it. If it has a womb, we don't have to honor it. We don't have to nothing. If it has a womb, how do we then embrace the divine feminine? How do we do that with all of this stuff? Generations of stuff behind us and in front of us. How do we do that?
All right, Doc, I'll give a quick answer to this. I'll
Please.
give a quick answer because she said something very unique that falls into my whole pattern of the whole meditation. Behind us and before us. So behind and before means right now. You're in your very presence. We've
Mm-hmm.
got to establish a state of consciousness. She's a psychologist. How do we rearrange the focus of our consciousness? Because
That's
everything you say,
what I'm asking y'all. That's what I'm asking. I'm asking pulling on your testosterone. Because inherent in your testosterone and your testes, it says you are superior by those two factors alone.
that's not on my consciousness.
How does, I'm not saying it is, how then do, because if the male is superior, it would have to be based on gametes. That's the only thing that makes maleness and femaleness. And a little testosterone. We got a little bit of that. Yeah. We got a little bit of it. It's as my late Bishop, Bishop James Brown used to say, it's like Prego. It's in there. All of it is in there. All of it is in all of us. But with all of this uh, patriarchy and everything that has a womb is to be dominated. And we are helpmeets.
Well,
That-
Bishop, you're correct in your whole assessment. The only correction in that is to teach the truth. And the way you teach the truth, yes, you're going to suffer, but you've got to be ready to sacrifice teaching the truth, not only teaching it, but people can see our ethics, our values, our
Mm,
behavior. That has got to be done in the Black experience.
hmm.
And yes, to do that, you are going to face resistance because it was built that way to make us fear. And as you described so well, how we treat each other based on a book that misinformed us. We
Look at this.
already know the truth. Now we've got to teach it. We've got to break from the system. We cannot operate out of the box. We
Look
have to
at this
step
right here.
outside of the box and teach. and we got a new technology. We better learn how artificial intelligence, that's getting ready to do us a job if we don't take it and make it give us our freedom.
My Lord. Gentlemen, I'm gonna let y'all deal with that. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Where it says men are physically dominant,
They
and
not.
so that makes the man superior. That just that just that just that that's the vibe I get from whether he means that or not, or whether she means, I'm not sure who it is. Men are physically dominant, which
They're
says that
not. But go
they're
ahead.
not.
They're not. They're
They're
not.
not. Because we can't have no baby.
Y'all can't even take that kind of pain. It'll take you
No,
out of here.
you know. And then which set the natural roles according to natural law. Well, who come up with the natural law? You know, who were the author of the natural law that has these natural roles in it? Thereby, it's a whole set of colonized thinking. And so, I mean, this is what we were given. And he says, I'm not saying men are better. I'm saying that men are prone to warfare. Well,
Okay, let me blow that to hell. Let me
okay.
just blow that to hell. That is not the truth. That is the training and the socialization. This is what we talked about this today too, Dr. Gardner. This is one of the reason, even in nature, I'm not going to keep going here with you because you're not going to win this argument today. All right. We were talking about today how popular the movie became Woman King because we have been told the lie that the male is physically dominant. It's a lie. We have been sold a bill of good that the apostles were all males. Lie. The priests were all males. Lie. The armies of kingdoms were all male. Lie. There's they left a little piece in the Psalm that when you actually go and look in that Psalms in the Hebrew, it tells you that the army were actually women. And so it is not that men are prone to warfare. Any species, because you said fear is natural, any species is prone to war when it is threatened or when it is a time for taking territory. If you think that women are not prone to war, touch their babies. Touch the cubs of a woman, of a lioness. Touch the cubs of mares and all of that. You will see that they are protectors. This men are this and women are this comes largely out of westernization and the imposition of it's sterile Western thought that is imposed upon it. And so we know what anthropology is. Okay, we know what we're not just talking about anthropological stuff. We know what that is, and we're not going to let you dominate this conversation. However, it is this kind of thinking that we have been bamboozled into to give dominance prominence. And so we say this is dominant, therefore it is most prominent. If that's the case, then God is one-sided and God is imbalanced. And so we must uh I'm not dealing with it. I'm gonna let y'all gentlemen deal with this foolishness. All right. We're not going through all of this with this foolishness here. Female animals ruling over all this ruling over, that's whiteness. Ruling over is whiteness. It doesn't even fit nature. Ruling over is decidedly Western. You don't rule over. You don't rule over a herd. You rule in front of a herd. So that does not even fit the pattern of nature. So you think whatever you want to think, okay? Have at it. But it does not fit nature. It is the way that we have reframed nature so that maleness takes the preeminence. And so my question then becomes again, there were women apostles, there were women priests and priestesses before there were priests. males. There were women warriors. There are matriarchal societies that predate patriarchal societies. There are queendoms. There, everything that's there, all of that's been erased and made to one side. So here's how you are helping us with people ingrained in that, who want to manipulate nature and science to prove male dominance. How then do we get people to embrace a divine feminine when everything feminine in the psyche is subjugated and less than? You think it's less than? Monk with Mother Nature. See, since we're over all of everything, over all of the earth, and then over all of us, monk with Mother Nature. One flood can take out a whole nation. One flood can take out a continent. One hurricane can destroy. One tornado, one earthquake, Mother Nature. If the earth decides not to yield her increase, we call it famine. It destroys, it kills, it nurtures. So we can't we can't ignore all of these things that we attribute to the divine feminine, which bring forth life and death. The divine masculine can't bring forth life. It can initiate life. It can do what it does. What I heard Dr. Brown say last week is that we need to now begin to bring the feminine energy back to the fore with the masculine energy for divine balance and divine harmony. How can we do that if how can we do that? Lord Jesus, I'm gonna have to block this baby. How can we do that if the mentality is so strong and if the mentality is so violent and so it and we talked about this today too, Dr. Gardner, the arrogance of the West. People ain't hating Christians because we right. People can't stand Christians because we have religious arrogance that excludes, and it's a little bit of violence to it. That's why they can't. So how do we take stuff like this? Okay, no, I ain't upset about nature. I'm tired of all of this. Okay, tired of all of this. We ain't upset about nature. Mm-mm. Part of our Africanness, even if you look at the differences, this was a study by Baldwin and Lord, I worked with this man for about 9 years. Baldwin and Hopkins. This was before Baldwin became Kofi Kambon. But he was, I think Reginald Baldwin. No, who was Baldwin? He was named after Baldwin.
James.
I guess he was James Baldwin, but he was Baldwin before he was Kofi Kambon. All right, and we have a writing the misorientation, cultural misorientation, and all of that. He's considered the father of psychology. But when he was still Hawkins, he was still Reginald, I'm trying to do it, Reginald Hopkins. And I think it's James Baldwin, if we can even find that study. They looked at the difference between Afrocentricity and Eurocentricity.
Oh yeah, I
Afrocentric,
remember that. I remember that.
and on the Eurocentric side is the mastery of nature. On the Afrocentric side is harmony or oneness with nature. So how do we move from this whole concept of dominance and mastery to being able to accept a divine feminine?
Yeah.
Okay, how do we do that?
Well, I think the thing is that a lot of thought along the lines of the particular commenter is the thought that yeah, you've already bladed out as being very Western, and that whole Western train of thought is more competitive.
Mm.
One up, one down.
Yep,
And
that's
so the
on that
idea
list
of
too.
the
Competitiveness versus cooperation and
competitive.
collaboration. Yes, sir.
So competitive versus cooperation, all those things are anti-African
Mm-hmm.
because in the ancient African communal life, it was about harmony, it was about Ubuntu, it was about all of the things. None of this stuff about one stronger than the other. That was not in their dialect about one being stronger than the other. It was
Mm-hmm.
about how we how we flow together, how we move. Even the 7 principles of Kwanzaa has nothing in it that depicts, physical strength or anything like that. So a lot of times, we're just misinformed because that's all we know. And there's nothing wrong, with being misinformed. Is being misinformed is on the doorstep of enlightenment. And so enlightenment is what you discover when you realize, you know what, I've always thought like that. So we can, and I never even questioned it. Physical strength and all that, but that's Western. You look at the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, they itself will depict cooperation, collaboration, harmony, love. You see this blend of things, and you see this community of things that depict something very positive, very uplifting. Not I'm trying to compete, I'm stronger than you, and you're stronger than me. You think you all that. No, it don't have anything to do with that at all. I think it's just this is good discussion tonight.
Dr. Brown, get that look on his face. Dr. Brown?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine.
He's fine.
I wish for this is the first time I've ever to see on the screen the different comments and things. This first time I'm busy trying to read all the stuff that you have to. This is the first time I've seen this, and plus the printing so small, I'm gonna have to get some.
I know, and I be doing like this.
Get some binoculars.
You can tell all us old. Everybody doing like this.
Yeah. But in order to our listeners, I would ask them as they are provoked, and I thank Bishop because she provokes thinking. She provokes thinking by presenting information that a lot of us really should already know, but we don't know. But my whole thought for everyone, even in my work daily, is make sure that people can find peace within themselves to begin to face the challenges, because that's what the information is challenging you. It's not a problem. It's a challenge. Now that's my thinking. It's not a problem. It's a challenge. And the challenge is to do the ASK, ask, seek, and knock.
Yeah.
Well, that is a challenge, particularly if you think you already know.
Oh, that is so true. So, but least each and every day.
Oh, he is.
Did he free? He always free when he's saying something good.
Make sure you're peaceful.
Go back because you froze a little bit. You froze a little bit.
Oh, I did. Okay, but go. You said it. Not I got froze automatically, but the fact is to seek to daily be peace within. Have a peacefulness with yourself. Too many folk that are intellectuals and scholarly they're not peaceful within themselves. They're powerful. They're powerful.
You said they are powerful.
They're powerful,
but not peaceful.
But within themselves. That's
God,
what I say.
Flow relay. Jesus.
Wow. You're watching The Doctors Are In. And we're going to come back here again next week. You touched on you touched on.
That's the comment right there. But you have to be teachable.
You have to be teachable. There you go.
Got to be peace within you.
Yeah. See, and you're only teachable when you know that you don't know, and you desire to know, not desire to display how much you know. They're powerful, but not peaceful within. That right there. Ooh, mama.
Powerful, but not peaceful within. Okay. So next week we're going to look at John 3. Nicodemus, is that what we're going to look at? And we're going to try,
are we going back there?
Well, Douglas Klotz even talked about Genesis meditations, about going back in meditating in the primordial waters. That whole idea, he gives a whole feminine context to it. I did see something on that. But
Okay. Is the part about the spirit blows where it wants to? Is that 3:2? Is that John 3:2?
that's John 3. It's, yeah,
Okay. See, this is what I'm talking about, Sanders. She says I'm teachable because I want to know the truth.
yeah.
This is why I still have mentors in their 80s, because I'm always evolving. Never think you know. Always, as he says, ask, seek, and knock. This is Jesus' teaching. When you don't ask, seek, and knock, it's because you think you already got it.
That's true.
So where are we? How are we going to buttress this? Praise the Lord. With the John 3 piece. Where are we going next week, you guys? Oh, I thought you
Well,
froze. I thought you
yeah,
froze.
yeah. I froze.
I thought you.
No, I think that we just need to really look at that to begin to unfold the the mystical aspect of what Jesus was really saying to Nicodemus as it relates to, you know, the born again experience. You cannot go back. Can I go back in my mother's womb and be born again? First of all, they understood each other, and he clearly associated what Jesus said had something to do with, you know, the birth canal of the female. Am I going to go back? But what Jesus was telling him, there's a place to go to, and I don't want to get into it, that is like going back to the birth canal, the waters that broke, that there's a breaking of water that occurs in the born again experience. So that idea there, again, you can only understand the reality of that through the lens of the divine feminine. You can't understand John 3, look at it through a male construct. You have to look at it through a feminine construct, just because the language itself was depicting something that only a woman can do, which gives us an idea that something that God is doing, that we need to understand how God does it, but we can't do it by looking at it through a male lens, because then we'll have this up down, someone's greater, someone's stronger, and we won't have harmony. So that's where we're going next week.
Okay.
Okay. I'll come in with something for you.
I know
All
you
right.
will.
I know you will too. All right.
Okay.